lock for 7. Reaction?
Lunging press.
I'm going to route him.
That's a little bit better.
All right.
Welcome, everybody, to the reaction step.
Exactly what I was going to say. Typically, we're the Attack Action Podcast, but now we're the Attack Action Podcast Reaction Step. Add in an effect there, Colin, in post.
Did it right now.
Yeah, exactly. Great job. So on today's episode of the Reaction Step, we're going to talk all about the Everfest Carnival. Woo!
Little bikes. Monkeys on little bikes.
As you can tell, I'm ready to party. Isaac, give me the rundown about Everfest.
Everfest will be released February 4th, 2022. Spoiler season doesn't start until January 24th, which I know a number of us were kind of disappointed about. We were ready for spoilers basically right now, or at Nationals, or maybe last September. But we got to wait a little bit longer. We actually have a couple announcements on the show before we really get into it.
Oh, sweet.
All right. I don't know if you were coming back around or what kind of threw me there. On the next episode of our podcast, the Attack Action Podcast, we will be interviewing Yuki, the Canadian national champ and Ranger boss herself. So look out for that coming soon. If you want to hear more of my ramblings, I wrote an article for the Wraith Times. So go over, check that out if you want to hear about my kind of musings on leading up to Nationals. Last thing. Oh, this is a follow-up to a previous episode. So we were discussing judge rulings and like when they interject and like being pretty critical of that whole, everything that went around with all of that. I asked a few judges and like talked to a number of people, and the clarification I got was that judges will not interfere if there is a missed trigger, right? Like a positive game effect, whether that's like,
You're talking about judges who are watching a game, such as like on stream.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were kind of wondering, they didn't discard for pummel.
What
right?
were they doing?
Like,
standing there, not doing anything about? Yeah,
they need to do something about that. But so for any trigger like a missed pummel discard or whatever, that's up to the players. If they miss the trigger, then they can walk it back if they catch it later. But judges do not interject for a missed trigger. However, an illegal play, right, like any illegal action or play at all, and they will step in. So hopefully that's semi-clear as to, I don't know, when they messed up before and when they did not, and when they should have stepped in and when they did not. But, after we had a long chat about that, I wanted to clarify for everyone. So now if you're watching a stream and you're like, flipping out, check yourself and go through that little thing in your head and then flip out if it merits it.
And just be a better player, apparently.
Also, right. Way to kill the party vibe with your freaking judge ruling.
Those are our announcements. Back to Everfest.
Well, our last announcement actually will roll us right into the party attitude, because we're giving shit away because everyone pulled through. We went way past 100 subscribers. We're just on our way to YouTube stardom. Clearly about to quit all our jobs and just do this full time. So thank you for making that happen. We asked everyone to comment and on our last reaction step video. Got a lot of great comments. So thanks everyone who jumped on and said hello and whatever. But drum roll, winner goes to our main man Zach number one in our hearts for just having the best comment on the whole sheet. So he came for the content and he subbed for the mustaches, and you know what? That's the attitude we're all about. So Zach,
especially on today's episode, where it's all about the party.
Exactly. We came here to party, obviously. You can tell. So we'll reach out. Zach won some stickers, a couple Attack Action Podcast card sleeves, and one of these tasty Team Covenant promos.
It's beautiful.
Oh, so good. So, congrats to Zach. Thanks for subscribing. And let's get this show on the road.
Email us, Zach. You got to email us at theattackactionpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
Yep. And thanks for listening and watching and supporting us. We will have more stuff for us, commenter and subscriber off of this video in the future. So keep at it. Thanks, guys.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Back to the party. Give me the numbers. January spoiler season. How many cards we talking?
Okay, so like Crew, this is 10 cards per pack set. And I can't remember if Crew was like this, but there's 2 rares or better in each pack. However, this is where the numbers
in every pack.
Sorry, what?
It's like that in every pack. There's a rare and higher rarity slot.
Gotcha. But this is where it gets really exciting. There's 198 cards total, and 45 of those are Majestics. So almost a quarter of the cards are Majestics.
Oh, man.
Or a quarter of the different cards are Majestics. There are 3 legendaries, one of them being a Skull Cap, and there is 1 Fable. There is also a Carnival slot, which I think is just like really exciting.
Hell yeah. So, I mean, we actually did get our first spoiler already, which was Skull Cap.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean...
Sorry. That's so funny.
It was more like...
That's so true.
It is like an accounting one. It's just like, oh, cool. Great. Just one more opportunity to maybe not pull it.
They just had to announce that so they didn't go up to $1,000 with the release of... the news of Arcane Rising being out of print.
They're so good with their timing, though. Like, immediately, they was like, Arcane Rising's out of print. Also, check out this shit right here. And it was just like, it's just Skull Cap, and it was just like, oh man. And then the smart people look at the card and it's got the new set ID on it. And it's just like, immediately everyone's just stoked and forgets that Arcane Rising's going out of print.
Totally. So a couple of things to unpack there before we get into some other details. It does say in the article that every class gets cards. Well, first let's talk about the Carnival slot. There's an article that says the Carnival slot is items and trinkets and talismans and that sort of thing. This is a twofold question. How many cards are going to be reprinted from previous sets, or is this all going to be brand new? And I forget what my other question is. Oh yeah. Does all cards for all classes just mean there's going to be generics in this set? Go. Those are my questions.
Well, number 1, correction. It says contains new cards for every hero in the game. So that's even more specific.
Okay, cool.
Which
is more specific.
Which could also just mean generics.
Yeah. Right. Is it Katsu gets new cards, or is it just there's a bunch of new cards and there's generic, so technically there's cards that everyone can use, because those are very different things, and the wording is super duper ambiguous.
Yeah, but I will back up to the Carnival slot because that's more fun. So let's start there.
Okay. We're all over the place, as we would be if we went to a carnival and tried to figure out what ride are we going to go on.
How much fried bread can I eat? I don't know.
Yeah,
No, I mean, I think it's just exciting. It's fun. It fits the theme. My hope is that there's some like really out there stuff in there, like I don't know, like alt art cards. You know, just like I mean, they're so good at just burying lots of fun stuff in the packs. So I hope that they take that to an even higher level with like the carnival slot. Like I think for like the press, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, it's gonna have these certain things in it. But I mean, if we got something like that like alt art crazy brew, not saying that one would come out, but like something similar where it's like I don't know, energy pot, but like super dope alt art cold foil or something like that would be my kind of hope, is that they go all out in that carnival slot.
Yeah, Isaac.
So about like Crucible was awesome because there was just so many more Majestics per box that opening it, you're like, what was I upset about that I can't play it limited? Ooh, look at that. It's just like they really knew how to make it feel like a treasure chest. So I kind of anticipate the same thing, because if you can't like play limited with it, it better be awesome to open, right? As far as the reprint thing, I don't mind like, of course, like some set in the future is going to reprint Scar for a Scar, right? Or whatever, or like Razor Reflex as a common, both for the limited play and just so more people can get their hands on it and they don't have to like reprint all sets at all times. But, and this isn't fair to like people looking to collect or like people who want a skull cap for less than $300. It's like, it's good that they're reprinting skull caps, so there'll be more of them so people can actually play with the card for sure. Mm-hmm. From my point of view, and I mean, I only play 3 classes, right? But too many of the legendary slots taken up by reprints makes it less exciting for me. So I, certainly hope that there will always be a good balance there, right? Like in a future set, if all 3 legendaries are cards I already have, then it's like, just a little bit less exciting.
Totally.
But, like we said, they've been pretty good at, I guess, pack design and stuff. So I anticipate they will keep both sets of players in mind in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I've heard people, they're like, yeah, it's going to be Skull Cap and Tunic again. And I'm just like, I really doubt they're going to do Tunic again. Like, it's become less of a requirement, I think, in a lot of decks. A lot of the biggest decks aren't really running it all the time. So, I hope, same thing, Isaac. I hope that they don't waste. I mean, not waste, but like they can spread it out. They can release these things over different sets. Like it doesn't have to just be in one supplemental set because these other ones are going out of print. Because like they're out of print, but they're still widely available.
Yeah.
And the last shipments are going out soon. So like it's not like you can't get these cards still. But
and Tunic was already reprinted, so
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do agree. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like opening Crew, but I don't understand why. I think it was absolutely a blast to open. It was like, there's another Majestic and another Majestic, and they weren't, I don't know, they were, at least in Crew, I felt like those Majestics, for the most part, like reshaped the meta in a lot of ways. There were some that just like never saw potential, like Ether Eyes and even Snag. Like Snag kind of got like a little bit of like, oh, Snag's the best card now, but it really wasn't. So I think there is going to be a lot of fun stuff, and I think hopefully that's where we see a lot of like the class specific or class or hero specific cards. We get some fun Majestics that will just set everyone's imagination on fire, hopefully.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's really, really interesting because it's not, I don't know, in Crucible, right, we had a lot of generics, right? We got quite a few, and some of them are really fun, like Coax a Commotion, right, is a crew card. So we'll see what happens. It would be pretty wild to get like class cards? I don't know. There's a lot to wonder, right? Are there going to be generics? Are there going to be talent cards? Is it going to be only class cards? That seems weird, right? Like adding those into classic constructed, like you get 15 new Runeblade cards, but then no talent cards. So then how do those fit into your Briar, Chain, and Viscerai deck, even though they're just like Runeblade cards? You know what I mean?
Well, they're not going to release any more Runeblade cards because they broke the Runeblade printer already, over.
Oh, jabs. We're doing jabs now, huh? Okay, well, correction, Isaac. You don't play 3 classes. You play 2 classes and 3 different heroes. Okay? Get it straight.
He plays Wizard
Brute,
now.
Ranger.
Oh, damn it.
Wizard.
Boom. Kano for life.
Fine. And I play 5 characters.
Whoa.
Oh, Jesus. I'm getting served.
Should we just start over?
Yeah, let's start the whole thing over.
Scrap it.
Dang it. All right, well, whatever. The pie or mud's on my face now, or whatever it is.
It's all good.
Whatever that saying is.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I love trying to guess, but also I realized that, like, every single set LSS has just been like, nope, we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Totally.
holy crap, didn't see that coming. And so
Yeah.
while I want to, like, hope and wonder, I'm also just like, I'm here for the ride. And I'm going to just have a good time opening it. And, we'll see what's there. If maybe there's some new Blitz heroes, like there was just so much in crew that was like unexpected. Like the Twinning Blade alt art, full art card, like that was nuts. And seeing everyone like post these things was like super fun at the time. So I think
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think, I expect at least that level. I don't know if it's gonna be the same like meta shifting, supplemental set, but I hope that they have enough toys for everyone to play with.
Well, how I remember crew coming out, it's really hard because it's like that was September of 2020, I think, or something like that. So that's like forever ago.
I think it was August, but
yeah. What I like late August, early September. What I remember is like that was the first time things were crazy, right? Like there were new heroes. There was the alt art, right? It was just like the first time there was so many secret things coming out of the set.
For us, at least.
Well, like there's no surprises out of Welcome to Wraith or Arcane Rising, right? Like the biggest surprise out of Arcane Rising is like now there's arcane damage. You know what I mean? But now it was like in Crucible, it was like there's an alt art card, and the level of cards, like they were all so, to some degree, really good for the class and like what they needed. You know what I mean? So, and there were new heroes and there were new weapons, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were new weapons in that. Yeah.
Yep.
And so like all of those things were really crazy at the time, So
yeah.
I just wonder is that the formula, right? Like what can we expect other than expecting the unexpected from this new supplemental set? Like what from crew is like the fundamentals of a supplemental set?
Yeah, I mean, I would point out, like, I really, really enjoyed crew because it gave every class something, right? Like, it gave Dorinthia powerful cards and like things she really needed to round out the class, even though Dorinthia was already super powerful, but it like rounded it out without breaking the character, right? And it kind of did that for everyone.
Yeah.
And a lot of these cards, my favorite part is that a lot of these cards are like kind of maybe timeless and super powerful, like Aetherize, Feign Death, Snag, right? Like they could be played in 5 years potentially with like the power level of them. But, they're just so niche that, they're not always online. But so I would really hope that, every class gets something this set, and then it does kind of the same thing, right? It like rounds out what they can do, right? Like Reinar got claws and a few other key cards, but it just opened up this whole new archetype and way to play it, just with like one new weapon and all the same old cards, which is like really, really cool.
Yeah.
There's some new ones in there for sure that help with that, but yeah, it was this whole.
You get like Massacre and Beast Within and stuff like that, but it's like not like the Claws package, right?
No, but I think I think Beast Within and Massacre definitely like were a huge boost for. I mean, say like you were saying with Dorinthia, it's like it just got more cards that like help round it out and do more of what it did best. And same thing with Wizard, like Gaze the Ages and Chain Lightning, Snapback. Like Snapback is like such a crucial card to make Wizard like powerful and functional, and like combo crazy stuff together. So those things all really reshaped how those classes are played, and like you don't really play. I don't know. I don't know if there's any class right now that you play without any Crucible cards.
Yeah.
At least a couple of them. But I was gonna say, like, I think the main thing that Crucible did was introduce majestic equipment.
Yeah.
Which was huge, and I hope they do that. I would also be excited if they introduce like rare equipment too. That's like, just kind of like introduce these like variations of things that kind of support these different builds, because I'm sure they're very aware of how people are playing. And I'm not sure how much they incorporate like how the game's being played into how they're designing it, or if they kind of just stick to their own, vision and just let people tinker with that. But, I'm excited to see some more equipment and definitely some more weapons, even though not all the weapons were like that amazing. Like Reaping Blade always seemed like it should be kind of better, but it has a place. Zephyr Needle was cool, but it's very niche as well. So I think there's a lot of room just in equipment and weapons that can really like. I mean, you change your weapon, all of a sudden your whole like build change for your whole deck.
What I'm really hoping for, most truly, is like the whole other resource system, right? Like copper, silver, gold, cards to spend that, like that's what I'm hoping for is like, we got that in crew and we're like, whoa, the game is just going to have a second resource curve. Sick, and then that did not happen.
Remember when that like copper and silver and gold are introduced and everyone's like, and then Monarch and Kingdoms, like, there's gonna be this whole thing, and like and then it was just like Monarch was Monarch and then Kingdoms was Tales of Aria, just like, wait a second, this doesn't, where's the copper and gold?
It's still not there.
I mean, you can cash in, that's it. It's just that one creepy guy wants your gold.
Totally. Hello, stranger.
Give me your fingernails. No. So, I don't know. We'll see. I hope Wizard gets some good stuff. Like, I think out of all classes, that's the one I feel like has just gotten forgotten that I care about. I mean, I'm sure people say the same thing about mech, but I don't care about mechnologists, so.
Totally.
Although, big question, does Data Doll get her question mark card that's on her hero page?
Mech just had a reign of terror though last year,
Yeah.
It's like all the mech players just annihilated everyone for 5 months or whatever, so that wasn't that long ago. Mech is like not long forgotten or whatever. And I agree. I think Wizard, I think it's powerful enough, right? Like I don't think you need like some crazy power bump. It's just like more cards, right? Like Chain Lightning or Gaze from Crew that like really open up lines of play and just add like, I guess, kind of power density to the deck. Like more cards like that would really, like, what I want to see is some sort of, Voltic Bolt or Scalding Rain style Majestic, right? Because you're just running those for like going over Arcane Barrier and for damage. So something, I know we have Fork Lightning. Stop screaming at me, Twitter or whatever. But, just some like big, because there's all the cool little tools like Lesson or, Chain Lightning or whatever, but just some like majestic Voltic Bolt, I think would be pretty.
Totally.
Fun.
Yeah. Like Twinning Bolt. And it's just 2 sources of 1 arcane damage, or something like that.
Oh yeah. And you aetherize it or whatever. And it,
Totally. Aetherize is not the card, but yeah.
Stir the ether wind. Yeah.
Yeah, you could stir it.
I'm new to Wizard.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm an ether player.
I mean, also, if they introduce like a blitz wizard character, that would be so hype. Like, just to see like what another wizard looks like, because I think about this a lot. Because Kano, like wizard and Kano is like it's the same thing right now, because he's the only wizard. But like, his whole ability is what makes wizard what wizard is right now. Is like,
instant speed.
He can instant speed stuff. What happens when you don't have that hero ability? Like that's. How do you play wizard like that, and like what is that ability going to be that allows you to like, I mean, maybe you have 40, you have full health, and like that in itself is better.
I think so you're an evil wizard and you play cards at instant speed out of your graveyard.
I mean, yeah, Shadow Wizard, like hell yeah. I think
that would be cool.
I think it would be like, because a lot of cards already do this, so you could just make it a hero ability too, like, but who knows, So like, if you play a non-attack action, you can play your next non-attack action as though it were an instant, and it costs you like 2 resources or something like that.
Oh, so but it's like play 2.
Yeah, and so it's like, but it's got to be from hand, and it's like much more, right?
Yeah.
But then you could like kind of combo a lot of stuff. Potentially, which would be pretty cool.
Totally. Yeah, because I think Wizard, not to just make this all about Wizard, but like, I mean, when they talk about some of the other heroes, when I think maybe it was James White was talking about like designing Chain, or, like, I think it was around Monarch when they're talking about the design of like the new heroes for these classes, and like what the class was actually about versus like what the hero was about. Right. And for Wizard, it's about just arcane damage and non-attack action. So I definitely something in there is very, is probably what like another Wizard character would be like. But
right,
playing at instant speed, I think.
Totally, but like when that's already Kano's ability is like, and just seeing how different the hero abilities are for the other class, like Runeblade, it's like Viserai, Chain, and Briar couldn't be more different in how their hero abilities are, but they're still like very much Runeblade, class. They do split damage, but they just have a very different approach about it. So, but yeah, maybe it is like instant speed, but like they go about it in a different way, like you're saying, like it's from hand or from grave. I mean, from graveyard would be really fun. We get that necromancer that everybody wants, or you can do it from their graveyard.
Ooh. Yeah, be careful what you put in there, because then
I think I kind of agree with Colin that maybe the wizard thing is not instant speed, that it's arcane damage and non-attack actions. That's like kind of more of the core there, more stripped down, and you can design more stuff around that.
Yeah, I remember, because we were theorizing about this with Monarch, right? And it's like, for Brute, it ended up being power, right? Like 6 attacks.
Yeah.
The core, not intimidate or, so.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like, they don't, I feel like I'm just splitting hairs here, but to me, they don't differ that much, right? Like, I mean, all of the hero abilities you listed for the rune blades, right? Like you listed how they're different, but to me, they all look like pretty much the same, right? Like you're incentivized to play a non-attack action and an attack action, and you get a reward for it, right? Like they all go wide, they all need go again, and then they all have non-attack and attack ratios in their deck to pay attention to, which are all like vastly similar compared to like playing Bravo. He doesn't care about any of those things or ever have to think about them. So I would argue that they do stay in the same vein, but
I mean, I think just the way in which you build your deck for Rune Blade has that in its core, but like I meant just specifically like Viscerai's ability is around a non-attack, but then he creates rune chants, so like he builds up this energy. Chain just makes go again, and then banishes and all that good stuff. And then
and his cards are like, to play them out of banish, you have to play a non-attack action.
Yeah.
Right.
And then so like I mean that is like not like Rune Blade. What a Rune Blade is like non-attack actions, attack actions, and then split damage. Like I think that's like the core. So like their hero abilities kind of all surround that, but on like that hero ability as written is very different. Like
we haven't seen the hero ability is not integral to the like core fundamentals of the class, right? Like Runeblade is the best example because all of their hero abilities are way different, but playing with the same stuff, right? And it's the same thing with the brutes. Like they're worried about sixes and manipulating them in a different way, right? Even though Levi's like hero ability is just basically like not dying. It's not really an ability,
Well, you're reaping the power of a demon.
Yeah, totally.
And paying back that debt.
Yeah. So
in a very inefficient manner.
Yeah. And so it doesn't have to. So like then Kano's ability is playing stuff off the top at instant speed, but it's like they have to be non-attack actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like that's what we're playing with is arcane damage and non-attack actions. So that's I think where they're going to design that next wizard is in that vein.
Who's obviously his name will be Pano.
We've called it years ago.
Kano's little brother.
Yeah. Sorry, my dog just came in and opened the door. Hey, hello.
You have ghosts. You don't have to lie.
The ghost of Pano.
What I want to see is Rhinar get some support. Because I guess Rhinar, like Mech, had his heyday, right? Like pre-Monarch. That was a very powerful character in deck, so maybe it doesn't merit a vast power boost. But it's just a character I feel like has been, because I love playing Rhinar, and I feel like it's been, he like excels in the mid-range, right? That like poker match exchange, like what Flesh and Blood used to be, and I feel like he's been kind of left behind in this like hyper aggressive, very powerful, like extreme ends of the spectrum gameplay that we've had in both Monarch and now in Aria with Lightning Briar. So it would be nice to see like a little bit of, I don't know, like modernizing Rhinar so that he can hang. Rhinar wants to hang.
Hit effects. Just give him any kind of hit effect.
like one.
Just one hit effect, please. I think, based on what you just said, another thing I'd really like to see is just like tools to slow things down, like defensive tools that, force more or allow more classes to force more of a mid-rangey game. Because I also miss that. It's such a different feeling to like play a game where you never see the bottom of your deck versus the game where you are setting up late end game plays and like having this really kind of close back and forth battle with somebody versus just like, okay, I'm just going to hit you as hard as I can. And you're going to hit me as hard as you can. And hopefully my turn is just bigger and more disruptive, which, can be fun. But I think, allowing more, because I think right now it seems like Ice, Lexi, shout out to Isaac,
and Yuki.
Yeah, who just did it better.
Yeah. That seems like from what I played a little old him and I've played Ice Lexi, and it seems like Ice Lexi's the clearest path to just slowing down these super aggressive decks because everything is just super disruptive to their game plan. And it would be fun if like other, obviously it's not gonna be like Frostbite, but if other classes had ways of kind of combating that aggressive meta that kind of have found ourselves in. I mean, it's only been like 6 months that we've since Monarch that we've been really in this aggressive meta, which isn't terrible, and like probably a kind of a relief after just like the grind of like the Crucible meta for so long when we didn't have a new set. Because that after a while that got a little stale, but that was just because we had no new cards and no events and stuff.
I have a bit of pushback against that. I think that the format would actually slow down a bit currently with the current card pool, but we just like don't have anything happening, right? There's no more competitive events. I think if we had some in like another month, some more classic constructed stuff, we would see some more tech, the ice decks would get better against playing Briar. Briar would have to get better against playing against them, and then that kind of like triad would then kind of allow some other rogue decks into the format and would, I think, slow some stuff down. We're just in a really short period of time, and if we had more time, I wonder if Lightning Briar would have been like as popular as quickly and all of that, like because it's just the deck that's like I don't know, up front right away, just like, oh, we'll just put in all the good cards with this hero and see how that feels. Not to take away from anybody who plays Briar and works really hard on the cards and stuff,
No, I mean,
we're just like, we're just going to throw in all these generics and we're just going to like do as much damage as possible. And then, that's going to be good. You know what I mean? Whereas if we had more time, we could refine strategies and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't disagree. If there was more time for Ice Lexi to come up and people to get better at like old him, that leaves space for the other heroes, which kind of does lead to the same thing. But I mean, I guess mine was more so that like rather than relying on these people picking up these specific heroes to force the meta that way, just giving people who want to play a specific hero that they like, more opportunity to develop a different archetype, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's a cool point.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because it's like, I agree. My issue with Briar is not that it's unbeatable, right? Like obviously it's super beatable with Ice Lexi or Old Him, right? Like kind of the problem with that deck is that it slaughters literally everyone else, So then it's like, yeah, you can have Ice Lexi or Old Him and then counters Lightning Briar, but yeah, I guess I just agree with Colin's point that it would be nice if more classes had more tools, right? Like if you're playing a class that doesn't match up well against aggro, some classes don't, right? But if you had a chance at winning, at trying to tech to win, and like, if you tech for it and then maybe you win a third of your games or something, or, just like have those tools to like exist in the meta, right? Whereas like right now in a Lightning Briar meta, a lot of decks can't exist at all or like stand, 5% chance of winning. So it just, Yeah, like more anti-aggro tools as well as more anti-control tools spread around to all of the classes so that everybody can have like a flexible sideboard, or like, try to make an archetype that does stand a chance.
I
And
think
I
they're
understand the design space for that is designing that, I'm sure, is very difficult, but
yeah, totally.
That's what we're looking for.
I still think my point goes along with that too, is that just if we had more time, we would see more decks be more relevant. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's just not enough time. I think Dorinthia has like a fair matchup into Lightning Briar, stuff like that. Anyway, we don't need to get into all of those details or whatnot. Something I do want to get us back into Everfest is that it is going to be in sustainable packaging. And I think that's like one of the hugest things, right? Like, having not been a previous like big TCG guy, and then now being a medium to big TCG guy, it fucking sucks. Ooh, excuse me. I guess we can curse on YouTube. I don't know.
Yeah,
yes, we can. I already did earlier, so it's fine.
Oh, nice. Yeah, not appropriate for children.
Yes, exactly.
Check that box. It really sucked making a ton of garbage every time. It's like really bittersweet. You're like, sweet, I just opened 4 boxes and now I have like a mountain of non-recyclable plastic wrapper stuff I just have to throw in the trash. Like, this sucks. So
yep.
I'm really excited about that, and I hope that they continue to do that with all of their products. It's just like every little bit helps the plan it out.
Yeah, it's funny. I tried to find out more information on it, and I went down a real big rabbit hole of Cardamundi, like corporate, like presentations nice. And all sorts of stuff. I could not find really any details on it, unfortunately. But it did. I reread the article. Excuse me. And they call it like a flow wrap or something. Which then when I looked up that's like a whole, like, that's like how everything is packaged in like the food industry, like candy bars. Like when you think about it, it's all kind of like the same kind of wrapping where it's like, some kind of material that's crimped that you can like tear open. So that when I was looking, I found a lot more stuff that was like, oh yeah, we're moving towards like paper-based materials and like other, I think even like plant derived materials that are like compostable. So that one it was really cool to hear them say this, and I know James White had kind of promised that they were looking into this like probably like a year ago, and to have them follow through with that, I think they've just kind of had their eye on a more modern approach to game making, and as well as how they do things as a company. I think so that was really, really cool. I think fingers crossed that they're good and people don't just complain about them all the time, because like I remember I think Team Covenant talked about this on a podcast, but like Sun Chips made a like completely like either recyclable or compostable bag, and then people were like, the bag's too noisy, and then they just completely shut down like that whole thing, and they just went back to plastic bags, and it's just like, dude, like people
are the worst.
Yeah, I really hope that they're fine and nobody blames like the condition of their cards on the packaging, and we can just do this. But I mean, given how high end Cardamundi seems to be, and just like at the top of like all the major TCGs print with them. Yeah. So like I feel like
industry standard.
Yeah, I feel like if they've done this and they're willing to like bet on this, like they're pretty happy with how it is. So
yeah, I just think it's freaking awesome. This is going to be just it's going to be so cool to get the second supplemental set. That's just like the coolest thing. And LSS always does like a great job surprising us at every turn all the time. Like, what a cool company to continue to do that, you know? There is a price bump. Did you guys notice that like MSRP is like $9.99 rather than like $94.95 or something?
Yeah. I did see that. I don't remember what Crucible was.
I think so. Crucible, I think the big complaint initially was it's the same price and there's like 5 less cards in a pack or whatever, you know, and people were like upset about that.
Which I hear you, but you're just not going to have like 17 of the same generic. You're just going to have like 15, the same number of majestic,
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, totally. And that was the whole pushback was like, well, you get more majestics, blah, 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 so.
Yeah, I thought Crucible was like the best deal. Then you go back to like, I think we opened some other set after that or something.
Yeah, then we drafted like, Welcome to Wraith.
Yeah, and there was like
months
5
later
majestics or maybe we're 6. But, and then it's like you don't want one of them and you're like, well, huh.
Well, that was also
I guess.
when they combined the super rare and majestic slot. So immediately there was way more majestics. But I think in Crucible, for the most part, the majestics felt super powerful and awesome. And not even like power creepy powerful, just like interesting powerful. Like you could, craft some cool combos around them. But even since then, like there's so many majestics and like a lot of them you're just like, oh well, this one's not very good, like so it's like it's kind of weird how that's played out. But yeah, I hope that I think it was more, I already said it, but it was more fun to open. I just opened some Crew Unlimited yesterday and I got like 3 majestics and I was super stoked even though I had every single one of them.
Yeah, it's fun. Do you think in the Carnival slot, so like just to go back into this, so are we going to is that going to be a reprint slot? Like, are we going to give it the Talisman of Dowsing? Are we going to get a Rusted Relic? Like,
I hope not.
Are those things just going to, like worthless cards are going to come back in and then maybe get some other hot stuff? I don't know.
I mean,
anyway, sure, because that's like the fun slot. I'm sure that they'll have some fun things for us in that, But along that, in that same vein, I was thinking about this, right? Because like Crucible didn't really have a theme, right? Or it's like Crucible of War. It's like everybody arming up for the battle, right? Which is just like what you're always doing, right? And this festival set, I guess, is kind of the same thing because it's a party where everybody can come, but choosing like a circus festival setting just seems to me like a little bit stronger of a theme than Crucible of War. That was just like have some new weapons and things to kill each other with, and it's like now we're having a party, it's a
and there's this dude selling weapons in the back. Come on, check it out.
So totally. How much of this theme is going to be like represented in the set, right? Because like in Crucible, it's not at all, or it all is, or what, but there's like no theme. So
it's like every card is really violent.
Yeah.
Everybody appears to be in some sort of war.
Which was fun. At the time, I didn't think about it. It's like, well, it's a supplemental set. They're just giving us a bunch of weapons, of course.
Yeah.
But now this big festival thing they're pushing just made me start thinking about that. Like, now is like Reinar going to have like a Carney top hat with his green dress, and his mandible claws. Like, how much of it is going to be a part of it?
Yeah. I think, even in Crucible, though, like, it did have like that kind of to arms war theme, but then there's like Huron's Flight. That's just like a dope Huron flying over like a river. Like there was nothing like overtly violent or like wartime
Towering
about it.
Titan.
Yeah, Towering Titan is
just a statue.
Yeah, it was a dope like fantasy statue. So I think the theme. I'm not expecting the theme to be wildly embedded into it. But I mean, I think, obviously they're doing the carnival slot, which I think is enough of a theme to just be like, this is a fun thing. It's a celebration. It's a celebration of flesh and blood. It's a celebration like in the world of Wraith, So I think that in itself is like enough theme for me. And if there's any clowns, I'll be very sad.
Totally stay away from the clown situation for sure. Stick to like fortune telling and like,
totally, yeah, like that kind of stuff.
Weird games and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want Lightning Briar to like, play her clown attack or whatever. Like, we don't need to go that strong into it. It's like, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But I mean,
like a fortune teller could be like a theme in Wraith somewhere, right? But we don't need to get all circusy and cartoonish with the game either.
But yeah, but a fortune teller that opts or something, like, and then I think fun hit effects like coax a commotion that's like everybody gets health, like everyone gets, a quicken token, that's
still one of my favorite cards.
It's really fun. I love that people are playing it now. Like,
yeah, it's great. Great. Okay, couple more questions, and we gotta wrap it up. We're trying to keep this to a tight hour.
Toy.
What are your guys' theories on how to incorporate this set into opening and playing it?
You mean like a limited format?
Yeah, kinda. So like, we're famous for figuring out how to draft crew, right?
That's how I found you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, we originated that idea and nailed it in perfection. So go listen to like episode 3, I think, or something like that of the podcast.
My last note in the Google Doc about this episode is, how draftable is this set? Answer: not at all, even in the slightest, but I'm tempted to try.
Totally. That's your best note.
I've already been thinking about it.
Perfect. What are your ideas? How are you going to do it?
Come back to me. Colin, go first.
Oh, okay. Haven't been thinking actually at all.
Not mechanics-wise.
I'm just going to steal what's already been popular. I haven't tried it, but the shapeshifter kind of format seems like a fun, just straight up fun kind of broken way to play, where you open packs from a bunch of sets and every hero is every class. So like you can give Dorinthia the Nebula Blade and like a bunch of like Rune Blade cards or something like that. And you just go for it. You try. It's like the goal, or like the challenge, is to make the most broken thing you can make. Comboing these cards together, which like seems easy, but I feel like it's one of those things where it's like when you're given so many choices, it's really actually hard to make any good choice. So it seems like fun. I've heard good things from people who have tried the format with just like the current available sets and like crew. So that would be my kind of low hanging fruit version. But otherwise, I think you need to pick. You need to pick a set to draft it with, and if they have things for all heroes, then it's like, well, that's so many heroes, and now everything else is out of print. So, well, not everything, but
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, go.
I also like Colin's idea, though.
Thank you.
But so I think you could draft just like, I don't know, 12 packs or something like that for 4 people, or like a box for 4 people or something. I don't know. Draft many more packs than normal. Or you could have like a starter deck for each hero, right? And then you could play with any starter deck you want and add in the cards you drafted to that. Maybe that's a little annoying because you have the starter deck, but maybe the starter deck only has like, I don't know, 10 or 15 cards or something like that. And they're all the same, right? So if you wanted to go to the work, I actually think that would probably work pretty well, but you'd have to make all these starter decks.
They come with like a popper starter deck of like, you know, like your 10 core cards, and then you build around that.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Yeah, we tried that with Crucible, but didn't execute that great. But now there are those like learn to play, like I think Kitchen Table TCG puts out lists for like popper only learn to play decks for like every set. And so you could like put those together potentially, and do like a sealed format, right? Where you open 6 packs and try to add it to that. The only issue you run into that with is that then like maybe you just block with the new card and just play the other card, you know, like you're just like, cool, I blocked with all the new cards, I don't even know what they do. I just played out the ones I know, you know. So
I mean, that can happen in any set, that right? Like pack one, pick one, channel mount heroic, first turn of the first game, block with channel mount heroic.
totally.
You know?
But all of the cards in Tails are new.
True. Yeah.
And you have to play with all of them. So
that's what I mean. 4 people could just open 2 boxes and try to draft it.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. There's maybe some sort of like team sealed format that's possible, but that's like requires a lot more like personnel logistics, right? And a lot more product. So that'd be hard for us at homers, you know. Maybe we'll get that at like the card shop or something, but
yeah, team sealed would be fun.
It's hard to just like open packs and not play with them.
I mean, you're gonna play with the cards
like instantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, you're gonna
y'all are spoiled because you spent like like the pandemic playing in person with like your friends. Like, all I had was opening packs and looking at cards and just being like, I don't know what to do with these, but they're cool, and I'm gonna put them in boxes. And now my room is full of boxes.
Fair enough.
But that being said, I think it would be fun to try to do some kind of limited thing, but I'm definitely just going to open up a bunch of boxes.
Nice. And it's going to be glorious.
It's going to be glorious. I want that Fabled, which definitely is going to be another landmark. Putting that out there.
I do hope that, I kind of hope that there's more Blitz characters, because it's like, I don't know, just having so many Blitz characters in the like little less serious format, you know, and like games are quick. It's just like, I don't know, made it like a circus. It was like pretty fun.
Yeah.
Plus, my only character was KO, which I'm like not into at all. So I would like a, you know, Kasai, or you know what I mean, like an interesting Blitz character. I think that would be pretty great.
Yeah. It's really cool. I'm really excited for the supplemental set because of how cool Crucible was. So also I find it, this is kind of my last thing, and it's kind of like I don't know, bookkeepery, but I find it interesting that's not coming out until February, right? So then it just seems like kind of a off way to do your 3 blocks of sets, right? So then like April, maybe not even like June, we get our next set, and then, you know, in the fall we get the second of the new block, and then again we'll get a supplemental set in the new year, etc. Like, is that the kind of pacing and stuff that they had planned on? I don't know.
We're ending on a strong note again. No,
I mean,
I just figured it was like, right, you're like skipping the holiday season, right? And then maybe
I think it's good
comes out like before their second skirmish season or something like that. You know what I mean? It's probably lined up with their seasons of play, not like equidistant release dates. You know what I mean? Like you skip Christmas, you release it 2 weeks, a month before the spring skirmish season, and then then the next set is like before competitive season or whatever.
Yeah,
that's just
the Pro Tour, right?
Yeah,
starts.
That's what I was gonna say.
In the spring.
I was gonna say we don't know when Pro Tour starts. We don't know when Worlds is, and they could be. And since everything's been so delayed this year, from like their original plan of their release schedule, it could be them trying to like reassert a timeline that like they can follow and like line it up with the competitive season way that they really wanted to.
Totally. I'm super into competitive season being in the spring and summertime because that is my off work season. So that's really great. Yeah. So that really works out for me.
Which is the winter time in New Zealand.
Totally. The time in which you would like to be indoors.
That's right. With a lot of people. Cold and flu season.
Yeah. Unavoidable. Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we get over and hit the Ferris wheel?
I don't even like Ninja much, but a new Ninja line would be pretty fun. I'm just like, I don't know. It's like fun to follow the line and the theme of it or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, I think that would be pretty cool.
But Ira can't play. It's a Benji specialization in Ninja combo line.
Yeah, an Ira ban card.
Yeah. Are you playing Ira? She loses. Nice.
Cool. Really good goof, guys. Well,
hey, thanks,
pass reactions.
Yeah, totally. That's our show. Thank you for watching. If you haven't checked out the podcast, go check it out. It's on Spotify, Apple, and Google. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook at the Attack Action Podcast. Email us at the Attack Action Podcast @gmail.com. Leave a comment in the YouTube video and say stuff. Say like what's up, and then we'll say like what's up, and it'll be freaking sweet.
Sup.
Freaking slice and dice that subscribe button. Hit the whatever. The dinger, so you know when we get new videos up. And I'm at BattleBro Taylor on Twitter.
I'm at BattleBro Isaac on Twitter. I'm Ejak in the Discord. If you want to chat about Ranger stuff or, brute stuff or wizard stuff or any stuff, hit me up.
All the kinky classes.
All the classes Taylor's apparently attracted to.
There's no kink shaming here.
Yeah, not at all.
I'm at Tasty Town still for some reason.
Love it. But I don't know why that's so funny for us, but it just is.
One day I'll tell you why.
It's such a good name.
Look out we got a couple new videos coming out soon, so keep an eye out for those.
Yep, gameplay and then new episode of the podcast with Yuki, Canadian national champ on Ranger. It's gonna be great. Very excited.
Just the champ.
Totally.
All out of reactions.
Sweet.
I died.
Calculate that damage.
Bye.
I thought that was gonna be the end. No defense. Reactions?
Okay.
Right? I think that's what we say.